This is Black Comic Lords, and we have a lot of discussions in this space about the importance of recognizing and uplifting and educating people on these black superheroes and characters that are in these comic books.
Yes.
Marvel and DC have made efforts to try and be more inclusive and diverse. DC, even more prominently over the last couple of years, has made a push to, show more black characters in their books.
Right.
But one of the things that we have these debates about is in this space all the time. It always comes up. People bring it up all the time. Is why can't we have more original black characters? And DC did this promo probably about a year ago, where DC was really promoting the fact for Black History Month, here's all our black characters. And you made a very important observation. Can you talk to us about this? Because the media got a hold of this and it became Kevin Grevioux is against inclusivity, or just all types of crazy headlines and stories got twisted.
Exactly. I mean, you know how the internet is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this cat who runs Bounding into Comics, he's like lurking on my social media, making articles out of my posts to, my audience, you know what I'm saying? And so my thing is, you say you're about black creativity and diversity and inclusion, but what you do is you give us black versions of white characters who don't have their own identities, as if they just came into being because the white character existed first. And I think that's disingenuous, and it's wrong, and it's uncreative, and it's lazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do we really need a black Superman? What's wrong with Icon? There's a black Wonder Woman now, black Aquaman or Aqualad or whatever. You couldn't create original black characters. It's easy. Now, here's the thing. I mentioned earlier that there may be a business component. You're talking about the corporatization of characters. And so one of the ways you protect those characters when it comes to them appearing in different mediums is by creating different versions of them. And this has been done since the 40s. You look at Superman, Batman, or what have you. You have to have a kid version, a female version, an evil version, a future version, an animal version. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
A villainous version. So I understand some of that. But once you have a marginalized group that you wouldn't let into the industry, it's almost as if you're saying, okay, we're now going to let you in, but we're only going to do it on our terms. So we're going to create the black character for you that reflects you, and you better like it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what these legacy characters say to me. That's what I don't like. You can have a black character, but you better like the ones we give you. And that's it. And I reject that.
Yeah.
We need to create our own. Now, I made a mistake maybe by giving Marvel the Blue Marvel, but hey, I got Dark Storm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And all these cool things I was going to do with the Blue Marvel, I'm doing with Dark Storm and the new set of black characters that I create. Now, it is kind of a proud, heady, experience when you are able to create a character that is featured in your in the company that you grew up really liking and being inspired by, but it's not the same company anymore with the same people.
Right.
It's a different day and age now. And so now we need to take that inspiration that we might have gotten from them and do our own thing. Like, I make sure that when I go to these conventions, I look at some of the stuff that the brothers are doing, and, I'll buy $20 worth of independent comic books from these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because I support what they do and I know they're trying to do it. And I know how difficult it is. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I think we ought to be doing. And so, like I said, going back, there are some of these characters that I think are okay. Like, okay, look at Jon Stewart. Well, you know what? He was created at a time when there wasn't an agenda or there wasn't any pandering. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Just like Guy Gardner, maybe. That's what DC did. I mean, a lot of people, if you really want to look at it, both The Flash, or I should say Barry Allen, Hal Jordan, Oliver Queen, they're both, all three of those are legacy characters, if you think about it. Because there were golden age iterations of those characters. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's not like this is a new thing. I just think when it comes to us, they're going too far. Now, the other side of that, though, is, if you had a chance, knowing you're not going to get paid, knowing there's a chance this character is going to be on television or in the movies, and you're not going to get any money, or at least not much, would you give them your original character? You can make all that money yourself. Now, you might not make as much because you don't have DC or Marvel's PR machine. You don't have their wide reach. But you know what? At least you own it all. At least you own it all. And I think that's the important thing. So it's not how much money you make, per se, but it's how much control you have over your own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we should strive for.
Right. To your point, specifically on this post that you had made, you even mentioned just before we get into, I'm sure this will be replayed at some point, and people will be like, "Oh, he's anti-DC, he's anti." It's not about that. It's not about that at all. Kevin grew up reading these comics just like I had. We love these characters.
Same here.
That's not the point. The point is, you have the opportunity, if you really want to be, and I'm speaking in general, not just to one particular company. If you have the opportunity to be inclusive and to show some diversity, you don't have to necessarily focus on Black versions of existing white legacy characters, particularly when you're big companies like Marvel and DC, and you've got a huge repertoire of original Black characters. He mentions a handful right here. What about Bronze Tiger? What about Tyrock? What about Crimson the Avenger? What about Bloodwind? Why aren't we seeing those characters in these books? Why is it always the Black version of Superman or Batman or Aquaman? When you've got all these great creative minds that have created these other characters, let's try and promote those. You've got them. Promote them. Give people what they want. I understand the business model of we got to stick with what's tried and true and what people recognize, but sometimes people kind of get tired of seeing the same characters and they want to see some. This is why independent comics are blowing up.
Yeah,
they want
I got to tell you, man, independent comics are the way to go. I think in terms of quality and creativity, independent comics are blowing away Marvel and DC. They're not making as much money. But if you want old school fun or good storytelling or originality, you're going to have to go the independent route. That's
Image,
where it's at.
Boom, Concrete,
Exactly.
Advent, Godhood.
Yeah,
I mean,
Zombie
just
Love.
go down the
Yes,
list,
you
man.
know,
Zombie Love.
Zombie Love Studios. I'll buy anything that Rodney Barnes writes. You know what I'm saying?
Rodney Barnes could write on a napkin and I'll
Yeah, exactly. That brother can write an obituary, and I'll read it.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Rodney Barnes.
Exactly. So you look at stuff like that from John Jennings. You know, look, that's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. That's what we need more of.
Yeah.
But, you know, look, I still like Marvel and DC.
As do I.
I still like, you know, the Fantastic Four and the Hulk are still my favorite characters, you know.
Just release yourself from the shackles of these existing paradigms and go back to being creative again.
Yeah. You know, exactly. And, you know, the way it works now, it seems like, you know, the storylines are coming from the editors. They're editorially driven, you know, and then they get a writer to come in and execute what their vision for the title is, you know. But, you know, a lot of these writers, I just don't think they're going to give away their great ideas. They're not.